Welcome to Dominate Your Day, the podcast for corporate leaders, visionaries, and founders who are ready to lead from within. I'm Dana Williams, and after 25 years as a corporate leader myself, I've discovered a powerful truth. The next level of your leadership isn't about more doing, it's about more being. Today, you'll hear from a difference maker who's learned that everything they needed to transform their team and their organization was already within them. They've stopped chasing external validation and started leading from their authentic strengths, their purpose, and their values. This is what I call the internal revolution, and it is exactly what I dive deep into in my upcoming book, Internal Revolution. Lead authentically and build your personal brand from within. So let's get started and dive right in. We have a treat for you today on Dominate Your Day, Liz Haberberger. Love that last name, Liz.
You got it.
Yeah, so Liz has purchased the Dale Carnegie, I guess it's the Dale Carnegie franchise for St. Louis, right?
Yeah, St. Louis and Kansas City.
Oh, you big job. So Liz has come from teaching, a mom of two and a wife, and then she bought this business in 2015, and look at you now, 10 years in. So we want to hear your story, Liz. So welcome to the show, and tell us how you got from teacher to business owner and all that process.
I would love to. Thank you for having me on the show. Quite frankly, I didn't plan much of this. A lot of it I kind of stumbled into, and some of it I actually tried not to do. So I got into teaching on purpose. I was coaching competitive gymnastics in college and loved it. I was initially a marketing major, and I remember sitting in a marketing 350 class, and we had a guest speaker came in, and he started, talking about what he did, and then I remember he wrapped up and he was asking people, what do you want to do when you graduate? We had about a year left in school. And, somebody raises their hand and they said, well, I want to work, within a big corporation, and I want to work in this type of marketing, and I want to start my own thing. And I remember sitting in the back of the room thinking, please, God, don't call on me. Please don't call on me, because I don't know. I have no clue what I want to do. And so I remember leaving that class thinking, I guess I'm not supposed to be in marketing, because everybody else seemed to know what they wanted to do, and I had no idea where I wanted to go. So I started thinking, well, what is it that I loved? And I loved gymnastics. I loved coaching at the gym. Now, that's not a college degree. So I said, okay, well, what is it that I like? And I'm like, well, maybe it's teaching and helping people grow and learn. So I thought, well, I could go into education and I could do that for a living. So I got my degree in elementary education, became a fourth grade teacher, did that for 4 years, and loved what I got to do in the classroom on a daily basis. And there was something where I was like, I don't know, this is just not quite it. But I'm like, well, I don't know, what am I supposed to do now? I became a teacher. And when you become a teacher, there's really only one job for you.
Right.
Teacher. So I had to decide, one, do I just stick with this, or do I try something new? And I finally built up the courage to leave and thought, okay, but what skill set do I have? Like, where can I go where I can still do something remotely with helping people and learning and growth? And I stumbled into Dale Carnegie. There was my husband's best friends, brothers, neighbor, it's all this little domino effect, who just happened to work at Dale Carnegie in St. Louis. And I was talking with him, and he said, well, that kind of sounds like what we do at Dale Carnegie. And I had never heard of the business before. But I thought, well, I don't know, if it's remotely interesting, maybe I'll give it a try. And so I took on a role in 2015. I started part-time in operations. So I was doing accounts payable, accounts receivable. I was ordering materials, sending out emails. I was doing all kinds of back end stuff. And I remember the first time I got to experience a Dale Carnegie program. And I sat in the room, and I bet within 10 minutes, this guy up in front, my instructor, Jim Cheezick, he had the entire room of 20-something adults captivated. And I had never seen anything like that before. And then, week after week, we kept coming back, and I started noticing changes in myself. Like, I was doing things differently. And then I'm watching these other people. I'm like, holy cow, they're growing, they're learning, they're transforming. They're doing things they didn't think they could do, 3-4 weeks ago. I'm like, I want to do that. That's what I want to get involved in. So I became a trainer for Dale Carnegie. I went through the certification process, became a trainer. Then I said, well, if I can get up in front of the room and help them have these transformations, but now these people are telling me, hey, there's other people at my company who need this. I have more people who need help like this. I'm like, well, I want to go talk to them. So then I transitioned into being more of a consultant and saying, let me go actually have conversations with companies, around St. Louis. And I had taken over kind of day-to-day leadership by 2018. So about 3 years in, I was kind of running our team in St. Louis. And the owner at the time started talking to me about buying the business. And I thought, there is no way. Like, as a former teacher, I don't know anything about owning a business, buying a business. I can't do this. And I said no. I don't know how many times, but I really tried, Dana, to get out of it. It's like, I can't do this. I don't know enough. Who am I to own a business? I can do the training stuff. I can consult with clients, but I don't know anything about owning a business. And I remember one day we were sitting down at a Panera, and I had told my husband the night before, I said, I know the owner, John, I said, he's going to ask me to buy the business. I know he's going to talk to me about it. And I'm telling him no tomorrow. Don't ask me again. I don't want to do it. I'm out. And my husband said, I support you. That's fine. And so we sat down, and sure enough, John brings up me owning the business. And he said, Liz, there's really two different options, because I was owning a piece at the time. He said, listen, I want to sell the business. I can sell it to you, and you can own 100% of the business, or I'm going to sell it to somebody else. And if I sell it to somebody else, they're not going to get rid of you. You can still be in the business, but I can't guarantee you that they're not going to say, I need you in that chair every morning at 8 a.m. And you only get 2 weeks of vacation, and here's your new quota, and oh, this perk that you had before, not anymore. And I remember in that moment it switched, and I thought, nope, no way. I would rather try it on my own and fail than let someone else dictate to me what I was going to get to do on a daily basis and how I was going to be successful. So I had to go home and tell my husband, hey, never mind. I changed my mind. We're going to buy this whole business. And we did. We bought the whole business in January of 2020 in St. Louis. And it ended up going all right through COVID, because we then expanded out to Kansas City and bought the Kansas City territory in 2021. And, that 4 years later, we've got an amazing team. We do incredible work with our clients and do exactly what my passion was at the very beginning, which is help them transform and learn and grow and be better versions of themselves.
That's awesome. One quick thing, I'm going to pause for a second. I keep hearing is there distraction? There's something buzzing coming off. Did you hear that? It's like a notifications or something. Did you hear anything like that? Like, do you have any notifications going off on your computer?
No. Oh, my, sometimes my dock, like, it just resyncs. Did it
I
just
think
do
that,
it?
yeah. See that noise? Did you just hear it? Yeah.
Yep, that's my dock. And I don't know how to, like, it's just my computer. I don't know. My dock resyncs.
Ah, okay. So what we'll do is we'll see if Ami, she's producing this, if she can turn that down. It just comes up every few minutes. You can hear it, I and I thought, boy, if there's something we can turn off, that would be great.
Yeah, I just
So,
tried to like fiddle with it a little, so we'll see if that stops it.
okay, hopefully you didn't stop the whole organization or anything,
No,
but
no,
that's
no, no, no,
great.
no, no.
Okay, okay. So we'll edit that piece out we just said. Um, but no, great story. I loved your story, but I want to start here with your strengths because I think when we hear stories like this, I always want to, have the audience hear your strengths and hear what we're at play in there.
Yeah.
So, can you share your strengths with us, your top five?
Oh my goodness. Okay, so one, I bet I did these probably 7 or 8 years ago is when I
That's fun.
first did my Gallup. And I do remember, and I'm sure a lot of people who have ever done one before, I remember reading it and thinking, this is so spot on. It's kind of scary. And
Very.
I can tell you, I've gone back to them so many times in my story. So my number one is positivity, but I'm
Mhm.
also a maximizer. I'm an includer, woo, and an activator are my top five.
Yes. So when I heard your story, I heard a lot of that. Well, I'm not really going to buy the business and I'm just going to tell them. It was kind of positive. But then I think when you put that spin of, well, I can take, they're going to do this to this organization, but Maximizer's going to take it from good to great. I can't let somebody else do that. And then your activator probably popped right in and said, nope, we're going to do this and we'll make it happen and I'll just figure it out as we go. So many people listening to this are people that are trying to figure out, they're just stuck. You know that, Liz. You probably work with
Yeah.
some of them in the workplace. They're stuck. They don't feel like they're in their true calling. Probably what you were feeling as a teacher. You're like, well, I can do this, but there's something more out there, but I don't know what it is. And from that moment you sat in class and you said, I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. To now, but that happens throughout our life as we learn, we grow, and then we learn something else. And the leader you are right now isn't going to be the leader you're going to be next year. And it just we keep evolving. So, who were around you, supporting you, helping you as you were making this decision? How did you, or did you just say, let's go? And your husband was like, okay, make it happen.
Yeah, I definitely did not do it on my own. Now, my
Yeah.
husband has been an incredible supporter. I mean, he has been in my corner we've been together for 18 years, married for, it'll be 14 years this year. He's amazing, and he's always been there for me, which has been so helpful. And I have other people as well. So the guy who I bought this business from, he is still an incredible mentor to
Right.
me. But I have I have an executive coach. I have other mentors that I lean on. I have a peer group of business owners. And then even in my personal life, right, my family, my parents are so incredibly supportive, proud of me. I have 6 sisters. So my
Oh my
sisters,
gosh.
yeah, I have a really,
Six.
really big family, so I get a ton of support there. And even just with my friends, right? Those people
Mhm.
that when I don't want to put on my work hat, my professional hat, and I just want to
Mhm.
relax, they are there for me. I'm a big believer, the Jim Rohn quote, you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with.
Mhm.
And so
Absolutely.
I think long and hard about who do I want to be spending my time with because I know that I'm going to become like those people. So I'm always thinking about who are the people that I want to be spending
Mhm.
time with, and then I make time for those people.
That's great. That's a great advice. I love your woo, which is number three for you. And when you told me you're a teacher, I'm like, I'm not surprised. And then in the Dale Carnegie business, I mean, that's the business of talking every day, of influencing and winning others over, and how draining it is. And you said even for people who are woos and then they don't get to be around people, like think about COVID. Did you kind of go through a moment where
Oh,
you were like, I always tell my woo people, go to a coffee shop, go find some people. But you bought another business, you bought another franchise, it sounds like,
yes, that's
adding
what we
Kansas
did.
City. Yeah. So how have you managed yourself with that? And you said, I got to give myself some time off, but I'm also, you get energy from being around people. So teaching classes, does that give you energy? Going out and consulting? Where do you find your sweet spot in running your business and using your strengths?
Yeah, so I love the fact that not only do I get to run this business, but I still work in the business. I
Yeah.
still have clients that I adore because I've gotten so close with them where I understand their culture, their strategy, their people, and I get to go in and help them achieve their goals. So I love, love, love when I get to go work with clients, whether that's in front of the training room, or with a group of people, or maybe it's even just on the back end, having a consultative conversation saying, okay, where do you feel like you need help right now? What challenges are you dealing with? Where are you trying to get to? So I have opportunities a lot to still be client facing, to put myself in front of people. But even as just a leader in the business, it's almost just as satisfying to get to work with my internal team and watch them grow, watch them, land a big account, or to have a transformation themselves, or help a client transform. So I get to kind of the best of both worlds, where I get to be client facing but also see it internally.
And I think too, so many people stop in their tracks and think they can't do something because they don't have the experience. Now, you have taught yourself and through your mentors and people around you how to lead a team, how to do sales, there's a lot in there that you've probably built with your experience before you bought the business, but then as you've been growing. So what would be your advice for those people that are they're kind of going, I can't do it because I've never done anything like this before? And you did. So what would be your advice?
Yeah, so there's a difference in Liz's perspective between the word and the word the. You see, people a lot of times think they have to have the right plan. They have to have the right skill set. They have to have the perfect strategy. When in reality, there's not the right way to do it. This is just a way to try something. This is a decision we're making. This is a path we're going to take. And being okay, knowing that it might not turn out the way I thought it would. But saying, you know what? I have a skill set. I have an idea. I have a plan. And if it doesn't work, then I'll try something else. But letting go of that, it has to be perfect. And until it's perfect, I can't do it. And unless I have this, but I might not have the typical skill set, but I have a skill set that's really unique. And so let me bring that because it's something different, something unique. And sometimes it turns out to be better than, what I would have thought something needed to be. It doesn't always work, but I would say focus on just saying over the.
Great. You can tell you're a trainer. You can tell and what I love that I see in your communication style that I want to point out to all of our listeners, we're only going to have a little bit of this on video, but Liz is speaking with her hands all the time. And that is huge, right? Because when you're on Zoom and you don't see hands, it's but you bring the trust in when you bring the hands in. So good job, Liz. I love that. Okay, so tell us your lessons learned as you've been an entrepreneur. What are the if you were going to sit down and talk to somebody else that's looking at buying a franchise or looking at starting a new business, what would be the things that you would advise them to do?
So one and most important, I'm a big believer, if it's not fun, I'm not going to do it. You've got to find some way to have fun in the things that you do. So I decided several years back, my team was still really small, but I've always loved like big award shows. I think they're really cool. And I was like, I want to do that with my team. And so I created something, we call it the Conies, because I went to the dollar store and I bought one of those like little orange like soccer cones. And
Yeah.
I decorated it with all kinds of stuff. And I'm like, this is the big award and we're calling it the Conies. So I did this whole award show for my team. They thought it was great, and someone on my team's they at the end of it was like, oh my God, Liz, this was amazing. She said the only thing that would have made it better is if you were wearing like a ball gown or something. And so I laughed and I thought, oh, that's funny. And I remembered it, and then the next year I was like, well, we're gonna do this again. This has got to be an annual thing. And I'm like, oh my gosh, Jen said it would be better if I was in a ball gown. So you better believe I took an old, bridesmaid's dress and I showed up, and it was so fun. And I think it's in those little moments as a leader, as an entrepreneur, that sometimes we can get so stuck in it has to be professional and we forget to have fun.
That's right.
And it's so important for us and for leaders. So I think number one, would be you've got to have fun. In whatever it is that you're doing, find a way to make it fun. I think my second lesson as a leader is not staying stuck within your business, but looking for opportunities outside of the business to help you be a better leader. So I've been training for like American Ninja Warrior, like all the obstacle stuff.
Oh, wow.
I've been training for that since about 2019. So I've been doing it for 6 years now. And I will tell you, it has helped me to be such a stronger leader, not just physically, right, but mentally and emotionally. Because when I go to the gym and I'm trying obstacles, I fail all the time. I'm constantly messing things up. And then I have to decide, okay, am I going to give up or am I going to be resilient and try again? And I've got people there who are supporting me. I'm helping to coach other people and teach them. And I take all of those lessons with me when I show up at work every single day. And so I think part of what makes a good leader and entrepreneur is I'm like, I get so many reps, like not just, again, physical reps, but reps of what's it like to fail? What's it like to have to problem solve? What's it like to have to persevere? What's it like to have to support people? And you can pull those in. So I think it's being a really good leader, or one of those things that I've learned is you can do it at work, but find ways outside of work to also help you become a better leader. And then my third, of course, is going to be my number one, positivity. Like no matter what happens, there's good. And so find the good in everything, even the challenge.
I love that. And I think your of course, have fun. And these are all part of your strengths and who you are authentically. And so I think that is a good basis. That's why we call it I call it the authentic imprint, because it's your personal brand of who you are and only you. And you can do that. But the lessons you're learning and the lessons you're sharing through these strengths are being your authentic self every day. So it's freer. You're not having to push to be something you're not. Does that make sense? Does that feel, do you feel you're in the flow all the time now because you've designed this life where you get, even there's going to be hard days, but you're going to pull that positivity up. Or there's going to be those days where you want to learn something new and you fail at your ninja training. Is it Ninja Warrior training?
Yep.
Yeah. But I always heard that too. I think that's great advice. I don't think we hear it enough. Go learn something completely different from what you're doing, because it's going to open up some new brain cells for you.
Totally.
So that's amazing. But just to have fun, try something new where you fail and then can learn again, and then just that positivity. So as you feel like you have created now, you're living your mission. Do you have a mission statement for yourself? Do you have something you've created as you've been building this life for yourself and your family and the others that you serve?
So the quote I gave you earlier, if it's not fun, I'm not doing it. That's kind of been a mantra of mine, is like, I'm going to find a way to have fun in everything. So that's a mantra I've been working on. I do have kind of some words that I will constantly go back to, maybe think of them as my values or how I want to show up. Those four, it's tenacious, capable, bold, and radiant. I've had those words for probably 7 years now, and I'm constantly going back saying, am I living those words? Is that how I'm showing up with others? I would say my mission statement, this is my family's mission statement. So that I carry this.
Family has one. Yes.
Yeah, and if you asked, so I have 2 kids, they're 9 and 11, and if you ask them, they know this. It's like on a big thing right above our fireplace. Always leave people in places better than you found them.
Oh, I love that.
Well, I do that in every aspect of my life. I'm always going back to that, because I think that applies across all elements of life.
And I'm going to bring something up that I think you can relate to because of your fun spirit and your positivity. In life and in work, there are not always going to be people that see life positively, in positive mode like you do, or they're not ready to activate, but yet they bring such great talent to the team. And so I witnessed this every day at Southwest. We had an amazing culture there, amazing leaders, amazing team, but the ones that were the quiet, we didn't have to ignore them. They just wanted to be in the culture, but maybe they weren't the ones out doing the acting and doing, doing the funny, thing, skits or whatever, but they were a great contributor. So how do you build a culture? You've been building a culture where you are, where people feel a part of it, but they might not, they probably don't look at life with everything with positivity, but they want to be around those fun people. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
How do you build
So
it?
our
Because not everybody's alike, right? They're all unique.
correct. Yes. Yeah. Our culture, I mean, first and foremost, I am so incredibly lucky to work with an organization like Dale Carnegie, who has amazing principles. And so, first and foremost, we are constantly going back to the Dale Carnegie principles. That's our foundation. And so, it's not all about being positive all the time. Sometimes it's
Right.
about being a good listener. Sometimes it's about showing other people appreciation or making them feel important. And so, we use Dale Carnegie as an anchor. The other thing we really do from a cultural standpoint is we lean into our mission, vision, values. We meet every week as a team, and every week we put up on the screen, here's our mission, vision, and our 3 values. And then we say, okay, where did we see these last week? And so, and it's not just me, like anyone on the team can shout out and say, hey, I saw, Andy did this last week and Rachel did this. I saw Haley over here. And so sometimes it's not always about, just positive attitude, but we try to live our mission, vision, and values. And that's really where our culture comes from, is those things. And so by constantly talking about them, looking for where are we seeing these, people actually go out and they live the culture. They don't just talk about it.
I love that. I am a big mission, vision, values girl, and I teach that with a lot of my clients. And so many of them, they might have their vision, but they don't have their mission, or they might have their values, but they don't. And so I love that y'all do that every week, and then you tie it to how do we do this week, where and recognition. So you're getting several things done. You're getting the engagement, you're getting the recognition, and you're tying what they do to the value. I bring meaningful work because I did this, which attaches to the vision. Was that something that you started, or is that just part of being in Dale Carnegie culture?
No, we started that. So like we created our
Good for
own
you.
mission. Yeah, we created our own mission, vision, values, like just for us in
Good
St.
for
Louis
you.
and Kansas City. Of course, I had some fun with them. Like they're all tied to quotes from different people that really resonate. They're different. So like one of ours is tied to Wayne Gretzky. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So our value is that we take shots. Like we're willing to take shots. Ellen DeGeneres, she has a quote that says, I believe that there's not one right way to dance. And I kind of think that about everything. So our second value is that we can dance with anyone. So we're flexible and adaptable. And then our third one actually comes from Vince Vaughn in Wedding Crashers. He says, rule number 76, no excuses, play like a champion. So our third value is we make things happen.
That's
And so we look for those every single week. So I think people connect with them. But yeah, those are something we came up with on our own.
That's amazing. And I'm so glad that you're talking about this because it's so powerful and it's so needed right now in the workplace. And I love the fact that you do it every week. I think that is just amazing. What other insights have you found that you've been able to bring to your team right now that has helped you guys grow and continue to have probably a really good engagement as you've taken on, you've got Kansas City, you've got St. Louis. I don't know how many employees do you have right now?
So we have 11 who are on the team full time, and then we have probably about another 10 to 15 contractors
Yeah.
that we will pull in who can do work with us. I think I don't know if there's any other like secret sauce, things that we're doing that other people aren't doing. I think it goes back to what I will give you in our values, especially for us, it's that third value, no excuses, play like a champion. We make things happen. We have an incredible, incredible team. I mean, I have some of the best trainers in the network, I believe, some of the best consultants in the network here on this team. And it's not because we are the smartest, most brilliant people. It's because we really care about our clients. And so we will go listen to our clients and figure out how can we actually help them and do it in a really creative, unique way, we're constantly going back to those values of let's make this happen for them, right? Or that second one of being able to dance with anyone, we're constantly talking about and praising being resilient and flexible and saying, hey, I had to shift this way or shift this way based on who I was talking about. So for me, it goes back to that. And it also goes back to that positive. We are always looking for the good through COVID, through, economic downturns. It doesn't mean everything is sunshine and rainbows.
Right.
It's giving people the hope that we can push through this, that we can come out of this stronger on the other side. And I think we've really tried to lean into that. I've tried to lean into that really heavily as a leader. And I think that's what's helped this team stay so successful, because we're really hopeful that things are going to work out, that we're going to be able to hit our goals and exceed our goals.
I love that, Liz. You're reminding me of the 4 needs of followers, what your followers need from you.
Yes.
It's hope, it's compassion, it's trust, and it's stability. Yeah, and you're bringing that in, and I think just keeping those, because life is going to always be up and down and changes, and there's always, but having that team with you and everybody feeling that. So congrats on that. Well, thank you, Liz. What a great conversation. Is there anything I didn't get to ask you today that's coming up for you that you want to make sure these difference makers who want to make an impact like you are, that are listening to this, what's 1 or 2 things you want to make sure they take away from you?
So one is the positive attitude. No matter what's going on, there is some element of good. There's some element that you can learn from or be hopeful from. That would be one. And then the second is do those things that scare you. Say yes. You might not have the perfect plan or the perfect skill set, but you have a plan or a skill set that could work. And so say yes and then figure it out later.
And look at you now. So
I know, right? It's worked out okay so far.
It worked out okay. You're doing great. You're doing great. I'm so excited. Thrilled to hear about all that you're doing in your life and how you're managing it all, but how you're living out authentically yourself. And so that's why it's so much easier, right? So congrats, and keep up that great work. And thank you for being on our show today. Is there anything else anywhere, like how people can get a hold of you if they want to reach out to you or learn anything?
Yeah, you can find me on LinkedIn. That's probably the easiest place to go. I've got all my contact information on LinkedIn. If you want to see my ninja stuff, then you can go follow me on Instagram. I post a ton of like ninja warrior stuff on Instagram. Yeah, if you follow me there for ninja, or LinkedIn for more professional stuff.
That's awesome. I love it that you do both. All right. Well, thank you. And thank you for being just an impact difference maker. We just really appreciate it. It was so fun to have you on the show today.
Thanks for having me, Dana.
What an incredible conversation. Remember, everything you need to lead with greater impact is already within you. You don't need to be more productive. You just need to be more you. If today's episode resonated, please subscribe and share it with a fellow leader who's ready for their own internal revolution. And if you're ready to discover what's possible when you lead from the inside out, I'd love to create space for that conversation. Head to danawilliamsco.com for resources and to book your free discovery call, where we can explore what you want to achieve for yourself, your team, and your organization. Until next time, keep leading from within.